So David, it must be nice to come back to Australian soil given how well your last trip here went.
No, yeah, I'm definitely really excited to be back in Australia. I loved this place before I got obviously the win, but after the win it feels even better. So I played good here in the past in this course, and really loved the environment and the crowds and the concerts and golf course and everything. So it's definitely a special week.
Is it a place where you have to adapt your game at all to play in Australia? I mean, you won at Royal Queensland, you played at Royal Melbourne the next week at the Australian Open, and now here in Adelaide again. Do you find you do have to do anything differently in preparation?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. At the end of the day, like hitting it off the tee and ironed, it's pretty much the same all over the world. But I feel like short game here. The turf is kind of firm, and you gotta adapt your chipping a little bit, and there's different options in terms of what clubs to use and what some sort of shot you want to hit around the greens. And the greens typically are pretty firm and fast, so getting the speed on the greens, it's also really important. And hopefully I manage and do that really well this week.
What's it like playing an individual event at the same time as you're working for your team as well?
No, it's great. It's my 4th year on LIV, so I kind of got used to that. But it just makes the bad weeks individually definitely better, because you're also playing for your team and you want to perform well for them. And if there's the combo of you playing good and then the team also doing good, it just means more, and you really want to do well. So I think it's a great concept.
And what about the younger players in general on LIV? Is there a bit of a camaraderie across the teams amongst the younger players?
For sure, yeah. I think the 57 players, we all get along really well, but definitely in my case, I was the youngest a few years back, and now there's a bunch of guys younger than me, so it just feels good to see the future generation in a way, and Elvis playing so well last week, and Josele and Luis in my team, and you have Tom and Caleb in Legion. Like, I think we're all doing pretty good, and kind of looking forward to seeing more youngsters win.
Now, when we think of Spanish golfers, we often think of players with a lot of flair, like Jon Rahm, like Sergio, Miguel, and of course Seve. But would you say you're a little bit more in the Jose Maria mold, or do you see yourself in that first group?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel Spanish players in a way, we tend to behave, good, but there's always certain times where we might get a little aggressive with ourselves, we're emotional players, and we really care, and I think I do as well. Sometimes I might get a little too pissed in certain moments, but at the end of the day, that means that we care about what we're doing and all the work behind. So yeah, I think being emotional in certain ways, sometimes it's good, and it's kind of part of the Spanish culture in a way. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, obviously you want to do it always behaving and respecting everybody, but I think it's important to actually perform better.
What's a Spanish golf course that doesn't get the attention that it deserves?
I don't know. I mean, I think Valderrama does get it. It's obviously an unbelievable place, but every player that you ask about Valderrama, they're always saying really positive stuff. In my case, I'm from Barcelona, so kind of seeing that Cameral getting the Ryder Cup, and then you have El Prat and my home course. It's called Club de Barcelona. I think we have really good courses there that might not get the attention sometimes we want to, but they're great golf courses, and hopefully now with the Ryder Cup being there, we get to see that more often.
Now, where's the Joe Kirkwood Trophy from the Australian PGA currently living? Is it at home or?
It's at home. Yeah. I got it. You know, a few months ago, and yeah, it's been in the living room ever since. You know, it's great to look at, and you know, kind of reminding myself about that week, and also, you know, it kind of makes me believe in myself a little more, and kind of moving forward to some tournaments. You know, kind of knowing that I got the job done there, and that I'm able to do it anywhere.
And will we see you back in Australia at the end of the year to defend?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I heard, you know, Royal Queensland is getting pretty much tear apart, right? We're switching places. So I mean, again, the schedule hasn't come out yet, so I don't really know where it's going to be. But I mean, I would love to, yeah, for sure. Obviously it's a long year, so I don't really know where I'll be or what I'll be doing in, you know, November, December. But I definitely enjoyed my 2 weeks here during that time. So, you know, hopefully I'm back, yeah.